Hi, I'm Margaret Lewin and welcome to Margaret Lewin Quilting. Today I'm going to be showing you block 4 of Moda Stitch Pink for 2020. Before I start showing you how to put together the next block, if you like these videos from me, please do give this a thumbs up. And I would greatly appreciate it if you would subscribe to my YouTube channel. It helps me out a lot and I would greatly appreciate it. If you'd like to see how I put this block together, stick around and I'll show you. Here is our next block. This is called Flower Power and it is block number 4. There's a couple of things that I'm going to suggest that you do on this block. I didn't do it the first time, but I'm definitely doing it the second time because I already got this one all cut. I would suggest that anything that is at a 1/8 increment measurement, take it up to the nearest quarter. So for instance, your block A's, which are all of these little ones, they want you to cut them at 2 7/8. I want you to cut them at 3 inches. The same thing with B's. They want you to cut those at 2 7/8, cut them at 3. Same thing with C's, which are these two. They want you to cut them at 4 7/8, cut them at 5. And D, which are these, cut them at 5, not at 4 7/8. And it will make a world of difference in how your block goes together. The reason why I'm suggesting that you cut them larger is because then you will have room to trim them up before you go on to the next stage and put them together. It just will give you that little extra wiggle room to make sure that your block is correct. So here's the pink. And now here is the one that I am doing for melanoma cancer in honor of my son-in-law. So you can see I've got it all laid out, and I love to lay this out and then look at it through the camera. I'm going to slide these down just a little bit because then I really can tell if I've got it placed right. And it looks like based on this I do. I am going to put these together basically exactly how the directions did. So the first thing I'm going to do is sew together every single one of my half square triangles. So these, all of these, and these. Once I've done that, I'm going to sew this piece together. Then I'm going to take them all over at once and I'm going to press them all. Then I'll come back and show you what they look like. What I will do just before I show you is I am going to square every single one of these up. I will show you how I'm going to go about doing it so that you may easily square up yours, but each one of these blocks is going to need to be squared up. It's a really important step to make this block fit together properly, especially since we are dealing with so many biased edges on this. So make certain that you take the time to square them up and you take the time to press them. I am, and I'll show you on this one, I am going to press every single one of my seams open. I did find that it laid much flatter by doing that. And I will try to remember to show you how I pin it when I press my seams open so that my points still match pretty darn good. You can see right here, those are some of my points and they're pretty good. These points are pretty good. That one may not be perfect, but it's good enough for me. I'm fine with that. Again, these are pretty nice. So I've got pretty decent points. I'm content with them. I'm going to take this over to my ironing board and I'm going to start putting it together, and I'll be back in a little bit. I have sewn all of my pieces. You can see I've got a huge pile of all different ones here, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to go about trimming them up. I'm not going to trim every single one on camera, but I will trim at least these 4 on camera so that you can see it. The very first thing that I do is just lay them out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this diagonal line to square up these blocks. Now you can see that mine aren't straight, and that's because we're dealing so much with the bias on these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and use the diagonal line on my ruler to help me square this right up. Now this block is supposed to be 2.5 inches. So you can see I'm just lining this up and then these, and then I'll get my 2.5 inches. So I line it up and then I square it up and I just grab my fingernail, clean that up, and then I rotate it. And now I'm going to square again, and you will see how much better this block looks because I've taken that time to square it. And it is obviously far more square than what it was to begin with. So there now is my square block. And here's my trimmings. You can see I haven't cut off much, but I've cut off enough to really make a big difference. So I'm going to go ahead and square all of these up. And the biggest thing is that I make sure that I've got my 2.5 inches, and I do, and I'm just going to square. Now when I did press these, I did press them with a little bit of Mary Ellen's Best Press. I really like that stuff. I use it all the time. I tend to use the unscented, although they do have some really wonderful scented ones. I think it's Ocean Breeze is one of my favorite. But that's what I do. And I believe wholeheartedly that the Mary Ellen's Best Press just kind of seems to control the fibers, especially when I'm dealing with something that is the bias. You can see on this one I've barely got a couple of the pieces. In fact, look right here, I missed just a little teeny tiny bit. I'll rotate it, whoops, and square it again. And this will make a huge difference in the outcome of your quilt. If you just take the time to square up each and every block, and on these directions they are fantastic about giving you dimensions along the way, so that as you are making this quilt you can take a step back and you can square it up. Okay, so please do take that extra time to do it. So here I go, and I am just squaring away. I'm going to go ahead and square off the other ones, this pile here off camera, and then I'll be back. We'll get this laid out again, exactly how we're going to sew it together, and then I will start sewing, okay? So I'll be back in just a minute. I've trimmed it all up, so I will more than likely add all of these together into 3 rows. I will put these 2 together, then connect this, and then connect this one to it. Then for this one, I'll probably connect these 3, then these 2, connect it to this, then connect this entire block, and the same thing with this. I'll connect these 2, attach it to this one, then take these and attach it to this one. So I'm basically taking this block and breaking it into a 4-patch. So I've got 1 here, 2, 3, and then 4. It will make it much easier when I go to put it together if I can get it into those 4 simple units. So as I did with this one, I am going to start putting it together, and again I am going to be using my strip stick to press my seams open. If you've never used or seen what a strip stick does, I will put a tag up in one of the windows, whichever one, I'm not sure if it's this one or this one that shows up, but I'll put a tag up there in the window so that you can see exactly what a strip stick is and what it does do. So I'm going to go get this together, and then I'll come on back and let you see my finished block. And here is block number 4 all done. And let me move things around so that you can see both of them. So here we are at block number 4, and we've got it in the breast cancer awareness colors and the melanoma colors. Now, if you've been following me since the beginning, you probably remember that the breast cancer one is the one that was suggested by Moda, and the melanoma cancer one is the one that I have designed the fabrics. I've picked out my own fabrics for it and am using Moda's design. So this quilt is for my son-in-law, and this one I'm not quite sure yet where it's going. I may end up keeping this one only because I really do love pink. So again, this one's for my son-in-law, and I'd be really upfront with you. I love the way this quilt is coming out. I just think it's absolutely beautiful. So there is our block number 4, and I'll see you tomorrow for block number 5.